Hi, one of the rubbish jobs I've got to do coming up is to replace these brake back plates on my old Mercedes C220. It's an S203 2003 model. And the reason I've got to change those is because behind here, when I take this disc off, are the handbrake shoes. And these handbrake shoes are meant to be held on here by some of these little fellas. And these little fellas hook behind into the mud shield and turn, locking these brake shoes in position. And what happens is the mud shield corrodes away, and then these little fellas pop out, get eaten up inside the drum, and your shoes end up squealing inside the disc. So I've bought a new mud shield here. This came off eBay. I bought a pair of them. I think they were around the £40 mark. I've already done the other side to give it a go. There he is. There's a new one fitted there, and I'm going to show you how I do this without dismantling, removing the hub and pressing the bearings out, because the way you're really meant to do it is to take the whole hub off, which is a whole load of these bolts around here, take the hub off, then get the bearing pressed out. Now I don't have a bearing press, and I'm not really looking to do that, so I'm going to do it a slightly different way by cutting the mud shield and then putting it back on in situ. So I will get back to that in just a moment. Okay, so here we are. I've got the handbrake shoes off. That was a case of simply prising the little springs off the shoes and taking the shoes off. And what I've got to do is I've got to undo these bolts here, and the two bolts here, and there's one just the other side, just under there. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. And then I'm going to cut the brake plate off. These are external Torx bolts, and these, I think from doing the other side, a 13 ring spanner just about got those off. And you can turn the hub so you can get onto the tops of these ones. It's not quite so easy to get on the tops of these, hence the ring spanner. Okay, see you in a tick. Okay, so here we are a couple of minutes later. As you can see, I've undone these bolts here. No, there's one in just behind here, and the last one just under the bottom. That means that the entire brake shield is now loose, and the only thing left to do is to remove the actuator here. This is operated by the cable and operates the shoes. So behind here is a little Torx headed bolt that you'll need to undo. Sometimes it's easier to take the stabilizer arm out of the way first. As you can see, I've unbolted my stabilizer arm so I can get onto the head of the bolt, and so then pulling this forwards, you'll see somewhere in there is a tiny little pin, and that pin there needs to be pushed out. It does go out quite easily, and you can see it's moving already, and then that allows, well, once you've taken that pin out, you can take this bit off and withdraw the cable from the other side. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll get back to you. Alright, as you can see, I've pushed the little pin out. This lot then comes away, and I can withdraw the cable from the other side. There it goes. And that leaves this completely free, apart from getting it over the hub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my tin snips out, and I'm going to cut through this thinnest bit here, and then just bend the whole lot off. Okay. Right, so I've just cut through that bit there. As you can see, the big cut, and I can just pull what is left of my mud shield off the car. I can give that a clean, and then what I'm going to do with this new one is I'm going to do pretty much the same. As you can see, there are 4 mounting bolt holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to cut this in half, or nearly in half, so that 2 mounting bolts remain on one half and the other 2 mounting bolts remain on the other half. And I'm going to avoid these lumps here, because that's where the handbrake shoes like to sit up against. So I'm going to cut it here, and then right through the middle here, but not quite to the end. So here we are, a couple of minutes later. I've used an angle grinder with a slitting disc in it. I've cut through here, I've cut across here, but I haven't taken it all the way to the end. And as you can see, I've got two halves of the disc now. I've got these two holes on this half and these two holes on this half, so it will remain securely bolted to the car. And what I can do then is I can open this up to get it over the hub, and when I put it back on, this will still keep the edge together, and all four bolts will hold the plate securely in position. So I'm going to put this on the hub now. I'm afraid I've got to put the phone down to do it because I'm not an octopus. Right, and here we are again. As you can see, I've got the disc, the mud shield over the hub. I bent it as little as possible so that this is now securely holding the rim. That's where I didn't quite cut it up to. And I'm just finishing off putting doing the last couple of bolts up through the hub, and the shield is fitted. The last thing I'm going to do before I put the whole thing back together is I'm going to put a bead of strong adhesive sealant across these cuts where I've cut the mud shield, and then the job's a good one. And there we are, there's the finished job. I've put a bead of sealant adhesive on both sides of both cuts, and that will stop any rattling, any loose edges, and it'll also stop water getting onto the exposed edges of the steel where I've cut it. And so that's just a case of reassembling the handbrake shoes and putting the disc and caliper back on. Thank you for watching.